What if I told you that her new relationship will fail, and she'll be back sooner than you think? I know it hurts to see her move on. Everything you've worked for is slipping away, and you're left wondering if hope is left. But here's the truth. Her new relationship is built on temporary feelings, not the deep connection you once shared. Right now, you're watching her go, but what if I told you that this pain, this feeling of loss, is actually setting the stage for your biggest comeback? The thing tearing you down can be the force that makes you unstoppable. Will you let it destroy you, or rise from it stronger than ever? If you're ready to stop feeling powerless and start taking control, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I control my emotions, not my circumstances. Let's dive in. Number 1. Vanish to be remembered. There's something profoundly powerful about absence. It's not just the act of disappearing. It's the emotional void you leave behind when you do. In the early days after she leaves, she expects you to linger. Maybe not physically, but emotionally. She expects your presence in the form of passive signals, likes on her posts, mutual friends passing messages, even your energy floating around in subtle, desperate attempts to be remembered. But when you remove yourself completely, something shifts. You no longer reinforce her decision. You make her question it. This is the first and most underappreciated power move. Disappear completely. No messages, no calls, no checking in, no silent hints. She assumes you'll still be there in some way. But when you vanish, you don't just go missing in her world. You create a silence so deep it echoes in her mind. And it's not just silence, it's presence through absence. She begins to wonder, did he move on? Why hasn't he tried to come back? Was I wrong about his feelings? The longer you remain gone, the louder her uncertainty becomes. The Stoics remind us that control isn't in forcing outcomes, but in choosing our responses. Your absence is your response. It's not passive, it's deliberate, disciplined, and powerful. You're not disappearing to make her chase. You're disappearing because chasing someone who left is beneath the man you are becoming. And when she notices the void where you once were, she'll feel the weight of what's missing, not because you told her, but because you showed her by saying nothing at all. Absence doesn't weaken your value, it raises it. Scarcity creates desire. Presence, especially emotional presence, when undeserved only cheapens your worth. But disappearing, it forces her to reevaluate everything she thought she knew about you. And the best part? You don't do this for her, you do this for you. Because detachment is a discipline, and freedom is the reward. Now, speak out and comment below. My silence speaks louder than my words. Number 2. Calm is your greatest weapon. The world expects you to fall apart in the storm that follows heartbreak. She expects it too. She assumes you'll spiral, show your pain, chase validation, and crumble under rejection. In fact, she's counting on it. Not maliciously, but because that's the pattern she's used to. What she doesn't expect is your stillness, your calm, your refusal to be moved. And that, more than any grand gesture or emotional outburst, truly unsettles her. When you choose to remain composed, not cold, not bitter, just deeply anchored, you send a message far more powerful than any words ever could. Stoicism teaches us that your reaction is the only thing fully within your control. Not what she does, not what she feels, only you. So when you respond with silence and stay grounded while she expects chaos, you reclaim your power without ever needing to fight for it. This calmness isn't an act, it's discipline. You don't text her back immediately. You don't reply to vague stories. You don't seek closure. You let her feel the absence of your emotion, and in that void, her mind fills with uncertainty. Why hasn't he reacted? Doesn't he care? Did I misjudge him? The very strength of your calmness flips the emotional dynamic. You become the mystery. You become the question. But the most important shift isn't in her, it's in you. You start to feel the peace that comes from not reacting, from choosing clarity over chaos. You realize that your stability isn't dependent on anyone else's behavior, that you can face loss without losing yourself. And that power, the power of emotional self-mastery, is the most attractive quality you can possess. While others chase, overthink, and try to fix, you rise above it. Not because you don't care, but because you've learned that care without control leads to suffering, and she will feel that shift. She will sense that she no longer has emotional control over you, that the man she left behind has evolved into someone who cannot be shaken. Now, speak out and comment below. My calm is my control. Number 3. The illusion of her rebound. You see her with someone new and your stomach drops. It feels like confirmation that she's over you, that she's moved on, that maybe what you had never really mattered. But what you're witnessing isn't replacement, it's avoidance. Her new relationship is not healing, it's hiding. What looks like confidence is often cover-up, and what feels like rejection is really a rushed attempt to distract herself from what she hasn't yet processed. The Stoics teach that nothing external can bring true peace, it must come from within. And yet she's seeking peace in someone else, in attention, in novelty. But novelty fades, the honeymoon phase ends. And when it does, she will find that her new partner cannot shield her from her own mind. The quiet moments will return. The comparisons will begin. The unresolved feelings will rise because no one can outrun themselves forever. What she's doing now isn't proof of progress, it's a bandage. And the more solid and calm you remain, the more that contrast highlights her instability. You don't need to interfere. You don't need to stalk, compare, or react. You let her play the game while you exit the arena entirely. And your exit shakes her, not immediately, but inevitably. Because when her rebound can't fill the gap she tried to cover, she'll realize the man she left isn't the same one she remembered. He's stronger, sharper, more self-possessed, and, most painfully for her, she was no longer interested. Your role is not to watch or wonder. Your role is to build. Let her rebound while you rebuild. Let her distract herself while you develop yourself. Because while she runs in circles, you move in a straight line, forward, and moving forward is the one direction she can't follow unless she transforms. You are not in competition with her new guy. You compete with the man you were yesterday. And if you stay that course, you'll eventually look back not to see what she's doing, but to realize you've outgrown every version of yourself that once needed her in the first place. Now, speak out and comment below. I evolve while they distract themselves. Number 4. The power shift of real detachment. There's a moment, quiet and internal, when you stop pretending you're fine and actually become fine, when your silence is no longer strategic but real. When her name comes up, your heart doesn't race. When you hear she's with someone new, you feel nothing. That moment is when the power dynamic completely shifts, not because you wanted her back, but because you finally didn't. True indifference is not coldness. It's not an act of revenge or a tactic to make her miss you. It's the quiet realization that your peace matters more than her attention. Stoicism teaches us that emotional freedom lies in our ability to remain unaffected by external events, and nothing proves that more than your genuine detachment from someone who once had emotional power over you. She notices when you no longer check her socials, don't respond to bait, or don't even craft imaginary conversations in your head. Even if she pretends not to, she feels the shift. She loses her emotional grip. And that loss, that lack of reaction from you, forces her into a position of uncertainty. Was I wrong? Why doesn't he care? Did I ever matter as much as I thought I did? But the real victory isn't in her doubt, it's in your clarity. Stop wasting energy on what could have been and start investing it in what still can be. You, your health, your discipline, your focus. And the more you elevate, the less space she occupies in your mind, until one day she becomes just another memory, not painful, nostalgic, or distant. Like background noise you no longer hear. This is the highest form of power. Not control over her, but control over yourself. When nothing she does moves you, when your life continues forward with purpose and presence, you become a man she cannot influence anymore. And ironically, that's the man she'll never stop thinking about. But it no longer matters because you're not doing this for her. You're doing it because the person you're becoming deserves your full attention, and he doesn't look back. Now, speak out and comment below. I am detached. I am free. Number 5. Winning without a word. They say revenge is best served cold, but the Stoic doesn't seek revenge at all. He seeks evolution. Ironically, nothing shakes someone more than realizing the person they left behind didn't break, didn't chase, didn't lash out, but built. The best response to heartbreak isn't rage or begging, it's a quiet, relentless improvement. No explanations, no emotional outbursts, just steady growth in the background until you become unrecognizable, in the best way possible. When you focus entirely on yourself, your body, discipline, mind and craft, you stop reacting and start ascending. You remove your emotions from the equation and pour that energy into your potential. Each workout, each early morning, each silent choice not to reach out becomes a brick in the foundation of the new you. And here's what makes it so powerful. You don't broadcast it. You don't post it for attention. You live it. She might hear about your growth. She might see a glimpse, but by then the transformation is already done. And it's not just the external change she notices. It's the energy, the grounded confidence, the quiet self-assurance. You no longer want anything from her, and more importantly, you don't need anything from her. That's when the regret sets in, not when you chase, but when you vanish and rise. Still, this is not about her, not anymore. Your improvement may trigger her curiosity, even her remorse, but that's not the goal. The real victory is looking in the mirror and seeing a man who kept going when he could have collapsed, a man who refused to let someone's absence become a limitation, a man who didn't just survive heartbreak, he used it as fuel. The Stoic path is never about revenge. It's about control, clarity, and becoming so deeply fulfilled within yourself that external validation becomes irrelevant. That's why your growth hits harder than any insult, clapback, or attempt to prove your worth, because your worth is now undeniable, and it speaks for itself. Now, speak out and comment below. My growth is my response. Number 6. You don't need her explanation, you need your exit. After she walks away, a part of you craves one thing above all: closure. You want answers, you want clarity, you want her to explain why, justify her choice, and tell you that it wasn't all meaningless. But here's the brutal truth. You still wouldn't feel better, even if she gave you every answer, because what you're really asking for isn't an explanation, it's relief from emotional attachment. And no one else can give you that but yourself. The Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that peace doesn't come from others' validation, it comes from acceptance, from facing reality no matter how uncomfortable, and saying, this is what it is, and I will be okay anyway. When you keep chasing closure, what you're doing is giving her continued control over your emotions. You're putting your healing in her hands, hoping she'll be the one to free you. But healing doesn't work like that. Healing begins the moment you stop needing her permission to move on. Letting go of the need for closure is the most liberating step you'll ever take. It shifts your focus from trying to understand her to understanding yourself, from looking back to looking inward, from obsessing over the past to building your future. And the moment you stop asking why and start saying, watch me, the game changes entirely. Because while you're quietly moving forward, she's still expecting you to be stuck, to wait, to reach out with one last question. She loses control when that question never comes, when your silence becomes permanent, when you close the chapter yourself. She didn't expect you to free yourself. She expected you to need her words to feel okay. But your exit without explanation says more than any conversation ever could. You are no longer waiting for an answer. You are no longer hoping for a final conversation. You are no longer seeking closure. You are choosing it. And that choice puts the power exactly where it belongs, back in your hands. Now speak out and comment below. I don't need her closure. I choose my freedom. Number 7. She's watching even in silence. You might think she's forgotten you, that your silence has gone unnoticed, that your absence no longer matters. But the truth is, people always watch the ones they left behind, especially when those people don't react. The silence that you think means you're irrelevant, it often becomes the very thing that keeps you present in her mind. Human nature is built on curiosity, especially when we lose control, and when you disappear without drama, begging, or a scene, you create a mystery that's impossible to ignore. She expected you to react. She expected emotional fallout. She thought you'd keep orbiting her world, even quietly. But instead you disappeared, fully, calmly, without explanation. And now she watches. Not openly, not obviously, but she watches. She checks your stories, even from burner accounts. She asks mutual friends how you're doing. She scrolls through your feed to see if you've moved on. And the more you stay silent, the more you hold your power. Because in a world where everyone overshares, the mystery becomes magnetic. Every unanswered question in her mind becomes a seed of doubt. Has he changed? Has he met someone new? Why doesn't he care anymore? These questions grow louder with every day you remain still, disciplined, and emotionally unavailable. But here's the shift. You're not doing it for her attention. You're not staying silent as a tactic. You're doing it because you've outgrown the need to be seen by her. Your energy is going into yourself now, your health, mindset, and ambition. And the more you elevate, the less visible you become to the version of her who left you. Still, she watches, not because she misses who you were, but because she's realizing who you're becoming. And the man you're becoming is no longer accessible, no longer predictable, no longer waiting. You've become a man of direction, not distraction. A man who doesn't post for approval or react for recognition. You move in silence, and that silence says everything. So let her watch, let her wonder, but never look back. Now, speak out and comment below. I move in silence. I become undeniable. Number 8. Magnetic mystery. Let her wonder why. In the age of oversharing, mystery is rare, and rare things are powerful. The less you reveal, the more she imagines, and what she imagines will always be more intense, emotional, and haunting than anything you could ever show. When you don't explain yourself or update the world with your every move, you force her to ask the one question that turns power upside down. What is he thinking? Most men sabotage themselves by being too visible. They post cryptic messages, attention-seeking photos, or accidental displays of their progress. But in doing so, they kill the mystery. They reveal their emotional state. They let her know she still holds space in their world. But the man who says nothing, who vanishes, evolves, and doesn't need to prove anything, that man becomes unforgettable. Mystery triggers the imagination, and imagination is far more dangerous than reality. She fills in the blanks if she doesn't know where you are, what you're doing, or who you're with. Is he with someone better? Has he moved on? Is he actually happier? These thoughts loop endlessly in the silence you leave behind. And the more unpredictable you become, the more she replays her decision like a mistake. This is how mistakes. The Stoics understood this power long before social media. They knew that self-restraint was not weakness, it was strength in its purest form. When you don't over-explain, don't defend, don't try to be seen, you command attention without asking for it. The paradox is this: the more invisible you become to her, the more her mind becomes obsessed with your absence. But this is not a game. You are not manipulating, you are mastering yourself. You don't hide to get attention. You move in silence because you've detached. You don't share every detail because your life is no longer a performance. And in that restraint, you become magnetic. Not because you want her to think about you, but because you no longer care if she does. You know, Still, she will, and every time she checks and finds nothing, the mystery deepens. Now, speak out and comment below. Mystery is my strength. I leave them guessing. Number 9. The return isn't the reward, it's the test. There will come a moment, maybe weeks from now, maybe months, when she reaches out. It might be subtle. A comment, a story view, a just checking in message. Or it might be direct, an apology, a memory, a desire to reconnect. And in that moment your old self will stir. The part of you still remembers what it felt like to be wanted by her, the part that craved this exact moment. But this is not a victory lap. This is a test of everything you've built in her absence. The universe will ask you a single question: have you truly let go, or are you still a man moved by her attention? Most men fail this test. They take the bait. They respond too fast, too warmly. They try to be clever, to play it cool. But the hunger seeps through. And just like that, she knows she still has control. She knows she can come and go, and you'll still be there, waiting behind the curtain. But not you. Not this time. Because you've changed. You didn't just survive her absence. You rebuilt your foundation without her. You no longer need her message to validate your worth. You've already earned that validation through discipline, silence, and inner work. And now the question isn't, will she come back? It's, do I even want her anymore? The Stoics teach us not to be moved by external things, not by praise or rejection, affection or absence. So when she comes back, and you don't flinch, jump, or change your tone, that's real power. You're not rude, you're not cold. You're composed, measured, and completely unfazed. And that in